The teacher of the Little Rock School District enters rare territory today.
I want my teachers, and I want them to get what they deserve.
Hundreds of teachers, students, and parents all joining forces to call for a change.
Hear us today, and they will know that we're not going away.
It's the first strike the district has seen in 32 years, and the protesters' call resonating with many tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Fox 16 News at 5:30. I'm Donna Terrell.
I'm Kevin Kelly. We begin with a brief history lesson on how we got to this point. Take a look. Today's strike within the 23,000 student district is the first since 1987.
Teachers, students, and community members all protesting the state's control of a local school system and their loss of collective bargaining rights with the union.
Arkansas took control of the district back in 2015 because of low test scores at several schools.
The board recently voted to return the district to a local school board that will be elected in November of next year. We have team coverage for you tonight.
Yeah, certainly a lot to cover.
Our Stephanie Sharp is live at the State Board of Education meeting, and Rochelle Turner has been reporting on this strike all day long.
We start with tonight's education meeting, where board members were trying to discuss the district's reconstitution, but it all came to a grinding halt just a few minutes ago. Stephanie Sharp inside that meeting. She joins us live to tell us what happened. Steph?
Well, Kevin and Donna, that meeting just wrapped up a few minutes ago. It's going to start over again tomorrow morning. A few things that they're going to be discussing tomorrow morning is what is called a PPC, a Personnel Policy Committee. It's basically a representation for teachers and staff of the school district. Earlier today, they're going to start discussing that new item that was on the agenda, and that's when people in the audience started shouting, "No taxation without representation." The board members, they took a brief recess before coming back in and announcing they're going to move the meeting until tomorrow morning. That's when they're going to bring up the new item, the PPC item. They're also going to be discussing adding 2 more positions to what's called the CAB, the Community Advisory Board. Basically, it's the board that Little Rock School District uses right now, since they don't have a fully elected board. So this meeting will continue on until tomorrow. We obviously are going to be in that meeting to have much more on what's being decided then. But a heated meeting up until the very end, where it was abruptly concluded at that time. So we're reporting live from the Department of Education. We're going to have a full wrap-up of exactly what happened at that meeting, and also some more. You'll hear from some people that actually spoke, had public comment at the meeting as well. A very, very heated afternoon here.
Hey, Stephanie, real quickly, I'm just wondering, you know, one of the reasons why these teachers are striking today is because their union has lost its power, its collective bargaining rights. They're still angry about that, I'm sure. Does it appear as though this strike has made any inroads at all in terms of what you can tell?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of the people that were striking earlier today, they did give public comment here. Very heated. A lot of people extremely frustrated. So that definitely did come across in this meeting today.
All right, Stephanie.
Thank you very much.
Every day, LREA. Every student, every day, LREA.
Well, the strike started early this morning when hundreds of teachers, students, and even community members picketed outside schools all across the city.
Our Susan L. Corey was there as the protesters worked their way from the school to the outside of the State Department of Education.
Yeah, every teacher I talked to today has the same goal. They want their voices to be heard here at the State Board of Education, and they're hoping that all the parents and students who joined in these protests throughout the day will help make it clear that they're not going to stop until they get what they want.
One district!
When do we want it?
Now!
Central High School is once again making history.
When do we want it?
Now!
As hundreds of Little Rock teachers cut class to strike.
We're going to stand on the right side of history.
Chris Dorr stands here now fighting for his job.
This message is not about money. It's about morals and ethics.
But remembers being in this spot for the first and only other strike 32 years ago.
I was a little kid out on the picket line.
They want these cries to resonate with the state and turn the school district back to local control.
It's time to give our district back.
As buses started dropping kids off some students watched while others grabbed signs.
Education is the greatest equalizer we have, so we have to be here to stand up for our teachers who teach us.
Teachers and substitutes who didn't join got blocked by picketers and had to keep walking until they found a way by. Protesters then carried their message to the State Board of Education, marching from its building to the steps of the Capitol, claiming the state's end goal is dividing the district.
We're not going to allow you to segregate our high poverty, majority minority schools.
That's something Superintendent Mike Poore doesn't agree with.
I think that's really a dangerous word to use because I don't see anything in the plan that shows trying to segregate schools.
But these teachers didn't come to listen.
This is what democracy looks like.
Saying it's their turn to be heard.
We will do anything to protect our kids.
While the main goal of today is to get the school district returned to immediate local control, organizers tell me once they get that, they want to shift their focus to try to get the union reinstated. In Little Rock, Susan Elcori, back to you.
Many students were either on the picket lines or inside of the classroom. Some others deciding not to attend school at all.
LRSD releasing new numbers about student enrollment and how today went. Our Rochelle Turner taking a closer look at the impact today's strike had on attendance. She joins us live from Gibbs Magnet Elementary. Rochelle.
Well, Donna, Kevin, good evening to you. I can tell you that after learning that the State Board of Education is adjourning that meeting I've just been following on social media, many people are very upset. I can tell you this is only going to fuel that fire, and it's going to make them want to fight more for that local control and for that local elected school board. Now, today I also spoke to Superintendent Michael Poore, who told me that today got off on a very good start, but now that there was no decision made tonight, the big question is what's going to happen tomorrow. Now, as you mentioned, people started the strike this morning at Gibbs Magnet Elementary School, and then they started marching down the street to Dunbar Middle School. LER president made a stop and spoke about the support people have shown educators so far. There was only a handful of students who got off the bus this morning, and we also saw a few substitute teachers. Superintendent Michael Poore says they had more than enough subs and actually had to send some of them home. More than 50% of kids were in school today. The district has over 12,000 elementary students, and more than half stood with their teachers on the picket line or they stayed at home.
At the elementary was the least impacted. We had a little more than 50% of our kids that were in school today. There were 6,542 students that were in attendance, and we have 12,605 students. On the middle school, we had 2,132 students that were in attendance today, and we had 4,800 middle school students that we normally would expect.
And for the high schools, the district has close to 6,000 students and almost 1,500 were out. Poore also talked about the safety and says there were 13 out of 75 security officers that were out of school. So now the big question is what's going to happen tomorrow. Superintendent Michael Poore did tell me today that if teachers were to strike tomorrow, they would be prepared to do the same thing they did today. So we'll be sure to keep you updated online and on air as we learn more tonight, and we'll hear more reaction. But for now, reporting live in Little Rock, I'm Rochelle Turner. Back to you.
All right, Rochelle, thank you very much. Teachers, meanwhile, throughout the district received a lot of support during today's strike. Many parents, along with their kids, joined them on the picket line.
We caught up with one parent, Ryan Davis, who showed up for today's protest. He has 3 daughters, all who attend Little Rock schools, and he says it was important for him and his kids to come out and show their support.
I was going to say I'm invested in the community, but I think it's probably more apt for me to say that this community invested in me, and so I owe it to the community to come out here and support the teachers, the likes of whom made me who I am.
Well, Davis grew up in Little Rock, and he attended Gibbs Magnet Elementary School, the same school his daughters are currently attending.
Be sure to head over to fox16.com to learn more about how one parent is hopeful about their child's future education within the Little Rock School District.
And do get the latest updates and all the angles to this story at fox16.com. This is a developing story, so tonight at night we will have more reaction from what happened, and we'll also explain what will happen tomorrow in terms of that State Board of Education meeting.